So part of those issues with me being so mad and angry, they dealt with father issues. Because I had somebody who was supposed to be my father that did not take his job seriously and he did not value me. So also, I have found out that the father I thought was my father my whole life that I just couldn't find. I had pictures of this man. His name is on my birth certificate. Come to find out, he's not my father. Someone else is my father. I was so upset about it. And it wasn't at my mom or at him. It was just the fact of, how did I finally meet this man? And then he tells me, well, I'm not your father, because the papers told me I wasn't. And so then we had to do an investigation, because my mom was like, I never received those papers. So she actually had to go to Ohio, go to the court, and get the documents that he had received, that he knew he wasn't the father, which is why, that was his explanation, which is why he left. Because he wasn't my father, so there was nothing else to keep him there. To us, it just looked like he just dipped. And I think coming to terms with that was really hard for me too. It didn't cause me rage, it caused me so much hurt. It caused me so much hurt. Come to find out, the guy that supposedly my father, I still haven't tested him, but he lived down the street from him. Oh, I didn't tell y'all. After having my son, I find my uncle's like, hey, here's an address for Red, because that was the guy's name. Here's an address for Red. And I look at the address, and I'm living in Florida. I'm like, Uncle Ray, this is down the street from my house. Are you kidding me? Like, I say, this is literally within 7 minutes of here. He's like, yeah, that's what I found. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So then I meet with him. I feel like I look like him, because I really do. He's red, of course, according to his name. He's, because he's just like fluffy, nice looking guy, and he didn't tell me that. He's like, can I get your mom's number? So he called my mom. I told Mom, I'm giving him your number. She's like, okay. She just really didn't have to deal with it. I understand, because she knew she still had emotions about it too. Sorry, I thought I turned my phone on. So she speaks with him, and he's like, why didn't you tell her this? And so that's how everything is exposed there. So she's like, well, the only other person. So I go to her, and I'm like, well, who else? Like, who else? And she's like, it's only one other person, his cousin. So then I go, well, where does he live? He lived down the street from me. So I've lived in Florida at that time for almost 2 years, because it's right before I moved back to Georgia, like I told y'all, 2 years. And both of my potential fathers have lived down the street from me. Crazy. So I go meet him, and I go meet the second one. He act like he don't know who my mama is. She say, give him the phone. So all of a sudden, I give him the phone. He know who she is. And so the first thing he wants to do is, yeah, we can go to Maury. Why would you want to go to Maury? Well, like, LabCorp and Quest is down the street. They do paternity test, $500. To be honest, in my mind, I shouldn't have to pay for it. You and my mom, y'all can get it together. Y'all can pay for this to figure this out. Whomever, I don't care. It ain't really about the money. It's really about, what do we do now? And the thing about it is, I found him. I reached out to him, and you can tell he kind of like, wanted to know what I wanted. I kind of made sure that he knew that I was, first off, above the age of 18, and I was only looking for him because I just recently had a child, and I wanted to know about my family's background, medical histories, stuff like that, my culture, heritage, all that. I just wanted to know, because I always felt lost because I didn't know. And people always want to say, you're this, you're that, you're mixed, you're black, you're Chinese, you're that, And I can't really argue with them, because if I don't know who I am, I'm gonna tell you who I am. And that was the biggest thing, I think. And people be like, cause you adopted. No, I'm not. Y'all doing too much. Y'all just doing too much. So that whole phase. So by the time that I get to meet at least both of them, that something within me is just calm now. Like, that's no longer an issue. The only issue after that comes when I'm like, okay, now I know who you are, but you don't want a relationship with me, because you're not reaching out to me. I had to reach out to you. And once I reached out to you, I still didn't get anything. Like, nothing. You didn't You didn't give me, like, you really didn't want to. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I wasted your time. So I just asked the Lord to take that and deal with that, and he did, because I couldn't really deal with that no more. I felt like, okay, I'm better than, I know more than I knew before, which is the definite plus. But I'm just done with this because there's nothing else for me to do. I've done my part. Like, I've done my part. So I was trying to find solace in that. And so, like I said, I moved to Georgia, and I got saved and la 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 la. And, ended up having to move back to Florida because my husband had to do more classes and it took him longer than it was expected. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just come back and we'll just go from there. And so we stayed there for like another year and a half, when we moved back to Georgia when my son was like 4. So it took like a year and a half. Yeah, so he was a little over 2 when we moved to Georgia the first time. And then we came back when he was about 4. So that's where we've been since. So in those 2 years or whatever, our marriage was tried hard. Actually, from our first year on, from the first day we got married on, because we got married in how do I explain this? We loved each other. We do love each other, but like this. But at the time, we loved each other, but we were marrying each other first off out of our Christian values and out of our a fear of losing the other. He married me because he was scared I would leave if he didn't marry me, and I was scared that if I didn't get married to him, he would leave me a single mother. Like, I had a fear of being a single mother, which caused me to what's the word? I would say force him to marry me, and he married me because he didn't want me to break up with him again. And that's it. He didn't want me to hurt him again by leaving. And so, I knew that we were supposed to be married just like he did, but we didn't do it on the time we were supposed to have done it on. So we caused ourselves a lot of problems. The problems that you're supposed to go through before you're married, we had during our marriage, which could have caused us to not be married anymore. It could have caused us divorce. And so we had to deal with everything from trust to finances to independency, all kind of stuff. Like, there's plenty of issues to be messed with in marriage. Like, there's a lot of issues that can go awry. And so that's what we dealt with all the way up until, I'd say, our 5th year. Our first 5 years were the hardest years. Year 6 and 7 have been, year 6 has been great. And then year 7, we're getting to year 7. Oh, we're almost done with year 7. So 6 and 7 have been a blessing. And that's why, like, we moved back here when my son was 4, got pregnant, and we've had 3 babies back to back. And with each child, I've broken down more walls and broken down more hurts and pains and fears. And so in between the pregnancies, I'm just, learning more about what I just came through and getting rid of it and how to help someone else. And then I get pregnant again and do the same thing. And it's a wonderful process. And I think that's why I love being pregnant so much. It's because every time I'm pregnant, there's more than the birth of a child. There's a birth of a new me every time. There's a birth of a better woman, a better wife, a better mother. Like, it's crazy. And I get to bond with this little person, but I also get to learn more about God and get closer to God, because every pregnancy it does it. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's why I can get sad some days. Now that I've got that procedure done, I can get sad some days knowing that I won't be pregnant again, because to me that is my biggest connection with God. So with all of these things, and that's my story in a nutshell. And I'm telling you, I gave y'all the expedited version, like straight expedited, because there's so much more, which I feel like they're vital to my story, but they're not necessary for me to give away right now. But I need y'all to know that in all of this, through all those trials with my mother and my stepfather, I never once was mad at my mother for her not being able to take charge and do what one thinks a mother should do. Like, oh, you got to go DIVORCE in jail time. No. The reason that I don't fault her is, first off, she's human. Secondly, she did not know what to do. And thirdly, she looked to someone else to help her with that issue. Someone else who, in my family, who didn't even know how to deal with that issue because she regarded their opinion so highly. She took that and felt like that was what was right to do because that's what she would have done. She, you know, she listened to the advice of an older, it's my great-grandmother. She decided to, because that's the one that she's closest with, and because my great-grandmother is an old-time Christian, you don't never divorce. You don't never divorce. You take it to God and y'all fix it, and that's just it, which is fine and dandy. But there was still no resolution. Like I don't know how to explain it. Yes, you do take it to God, and yes, people can change, but that doesn't seem like what had went on. Although that's what her goal was to just take it to God, and God was gonna fix everything because He did in His own time. But like I said, I don't fault her because she didn't know what to do, because she went through the same issue as a girl. She'd been, assaulted, and no one was there to take care of her. So she did not have an example of how you're supposed to take care of your child and your daughter in that scenario. And I still just thank God that it still was never as bad as it could have been. And my husband like, you gotta stop saying that. Like, no, someone else's story out there was way worse and way more brutal and way more heart-wrenching than mine. I said, yes, I had some bad things happen and things that shouldn't have happened, but I know it could have been worse. But the whole time, even as a child, I knew that I was going to be okay. I didn't turn to drugs. I didn't turn to sex. Actually, what I turned to was not giving my body to nobody, because I felt like nobody valued me. Why would I give them me? And so I didn't. My husband was my first partner, and I'm grateful for it. He wasn't my husband when I shared myself with him, but he became my husband. So with that, what am I trying to say? I've always had God with me and in me. And the thing was, I didn't even recognize it. I just knew what to do and what I was following. I never really, because people was like, how are you not, because you could have really went this way, you could have really went that way. It's like nothing in me wanted to. I knew that everything was going to be okay. I've since written a letter to my stepfather. This was some years ago. I wrote him a letter and I told him, we both know what went on, but I just want you to know that I sincerely, I forgive you. I do. Because I forgive myself, and I forgive you. I forgive myself for being mad and harboring those emotions and taking them out of my husband because I couldn't forgive you. But I forgive you now, and I pray for your well-being, and I pray that you can come through it and forgive yourself too. And I sent it right on to him. And when I put that stamp on that letter, all that went with it, all that I had in there went with that letter, straight to the mail. There, you can always come through it. Some work, but you can always come through it. I know I talk backwards and forwards and I get off track. That's why I knew it was gonna be a hard video to make. But if there's anything in there that you're like, hold up, she didn't say this, or what does she mean by this, or what happened between here and here, ask me. Because this is now a 3-part video, and I'm sure it's going to equal up about 45, maybe to an hour, like maybe 45 minutes. So just ask or email. And I'll see you guys all next week, because I may have another story that may be important, or I may just have a motivational message. So stay tuned. I thank you for watching my long-winded, it's about me, who I am. But I do want y'all to know I'm a Taurus, and I'm a through and true to the core Taurus. That's what I forgot to say in the beginning. And I think that I like to tell people that because it's a big part of me. That's all. Loyal, respect, love her hard. So see you guys next time.